to talk about everything, and I mean everything that has happened to the garbage organization known as the Buffalo Sabres within the last considerable time. I am Don. Beside me is the co-founder of our Instagram, Cal. How are you doing today, Cal?
Doing pretty good. How are you doing?
Not good. No, no. Watching this garbage team play every single night or every other night just
Not
puts a
great.
dent in my heart. It's hurting. It hurts. I don't, in a minute I won't feel anything. I won't feel a thing for this garbage organization that has hurt us for 10 years. What are your thoughts about the 6-8-3 Buffalo Sabres right now?
Well, first of all, we're going to start from the top. The GM. The GM seems very soft. Obviously, Kruger says he talks to them a lot, but then he also says, he hasn't heard anything about the Skinner meeting with his agent. So obviously, there's some lying going on there. Then we go down to Kruger. Obviously, like I just said, lies about everything. He says he's day to day. Like he says, Eichel's day to day now. Guarantee he'll be out for the year because that's what the same thing was for Borgen and the same thing for McCabe. And then the players, like you could tell they're trying, but some players are dogging it. Like Eichel, hopefully he's injured and not just like mad with the organization.
Mm-hmm. And I wanted to talk about Jack Eichel because he has not looked like the Jack Eichel that we've come to expect from him. He's looked lazy, slow, bad with the puck, and only functional on the power play.
Yeah, Eichel's looked very slow and doggish lately. I'm hoping it's an injury and not like him preparing to request a trade. You can tell he's really not having too much fun out there. You could tell on his face that he's just kind of there to be there. And it hurts when your captain's playing like that because the other guys aren't going to get fired up either.
And I don't feel bad for Jack Eichel being on this team anymore. I don't. The way he's shown no effort, he has come out and he's given off the vibe that he's such a big, rich little baby that
Yeah.
I don't have to feel bad for a guy that makes $10 million in the NHL as a professional. I should not feel bad for you. You should feel bad for me that I get to watch this horrible team and how you show little effort night after night after night.
Yeah, as a captain, he's really got to show that effort. And like I've said from his rookie season, he's lazy. He doesn't get on sides when he has to. He doesn't shoot the puck when he has to. He often loses the puck this season. Like you could just tell from his play, he's not a captain.
He has not looked like a captain at all. And I knew it was a mistake when they made him the captain a couple years ago over Ryan O'Reilly and subsequently traded O'Reilly. I thought O'Reilly should have been the captain of the Sabres and kept. I wasn't so sold on Eichel because he gave me the same vibe as players like Patrick Kane. They're darn good, but they're not leaders. They are not leaders. They're flashy showboaters. And he is certainly not Connor McDavid or Mitch Marner or Austin Matthews. Well, more Austin Matthews. I don't see Matthews being a real leader. He's a great player.
Yeah.
He's probably going to hit 50 goals this year, but he's not a leader.
Yeah, you could tell. That's why a lot of teams have like their gritty players as captains, and some teams choose to have goal scorers. But you could just tell Eichel's there, and he's got too much on his plate right now. I don't know if he's overwhelmed, if he's just not trying, but he's got a few jobs. He's got jobs to score, he's got jobs to facilitate, he's got a job to lead the team, and he's not doing any of them at the moment.
There's been a devoid of leadership. The only leadership from this team has come from Rasmus Ristolainen and Jake McCabe. And where's Jake McCabe now? He's gone. Where's Ristolainen? He's still gone from COVID. All you have left is Eichel. And Eichel has not been a leader at all this season. He looks more frustrated. And he just goes off the ice like, oh my God. Instead of actually trying to fix anything, he just shrugs his shoulders and just takes another blow. He takes another blow and doesn't do anything about it. That's what frustrates me because we all know what kind of player he can be. He is not being that player right now.
I've seen plays from Eichel where I'm like, wow, like I've never seen that from any other Saber in my lifetime. And then like this season, not once has he taken the puck and just shown that extra burst of speed we all know he has and takes it to the net. And, of course, people are going to say, oh, he's shooting, he's hitting the post a lot. He is, but that's not what he's here for. He's here to put the puck in the net and make spectacular plays along with lead the team. And again, he's doing nothing. Has one goal on the season. has a few assists, but overall horrible.
And the same deal goes for Taylor Hall. You were brought in not to be $20 million assisters. You were brought in to score goals. And when there's a combined 3 goals amongst Eichel and Hall, that's bad. You cannot be a playoff team. Expect yourself to be a playoff team when you have 3 goals combined to your 2 top players.
Yeah, don't even get me started about this guy. I've been frustrated since game 2, I guess. He's out there. He doesn't really seem to have that boost that we've seen Eichel have in the past. I don't really see any star potential in him, honestly. I just see a guy who is out there and has a decent shot, kind of smart with the puck, but turnover machine lately. Had that nice assist to Reinhart, but other than that, he's just been very bad and not worth the money at all.
And it makes sense to me why there's a reported mutual interest between Hall and the Sabres in getting an extension. It's because he knows that when he hits the open market, he will not be getting $8 million a year. He will be getting a pay decrease, and he's hoping that Kevin Adams is as stupid as we all think the Sabres management is, and they will give him $9 to $10 million because I don't know what to expect anything less from them. I don't.
Yeah, that's as the Sabres organization, I'm expecting nothing less than paying him $9 million for long term. And then you have not 1, not 2, but 3 players who are playing horrible right now on the decline, not playing great, over $9 million.
And they're all making north of $8 million a year. Skinner, Hall, Eichel. Those are your 3 guys that we all expected to be big parts of the season. And so far, 0 for 3. Instead, Victor Olofsson, Sam Reinhart, even Eric Stahl, they're the ones who have been contributing to this lineup. And recently, Rasmus Dahlin he's looked like a different player on the bright side. Rasmus Dahlin looks full of confidence, a number 1 defenseman, and really stepping up when we all thought that he would falter without Ristolainen.
Yeah, Dahlin's been one of the players who has really taken it up this year. I'll add Olofsson and Reinhart to that list, and Olmark, I guess you could say. But Dahlin, you could tell he takes the puck and he feels confident this year. He's taking the puck in the zone. He still doesn't take it all the way. Still feels like he has to stay back on D, but he gets it across the blue line, and he's looking like Eichel did last year a little bit, minus the offense.
And Colin Miller also has looked much better in year 2. I cannot say the same thing for Brandon Montour, though, who is reportedly on the trade block for the Sabres.
Yeah, ever since he's been on the trade block, I've seen a little difference in his play. He seems a bit quicker. Last 2 or 3 games, I've noticed him a little more, and if he keeps this play up, he'll definitely get the value up. Colin Miller, on the other hand, I like his offense. I like that he brings that slap shot. And for the first 10 games of the season, I'd say half the Sabres offense was Colin Miller taking slap shots. So not great, but at least he's trying.
At least he's contributing in some way when nobody else is. Victor Olofsson only does so in the power play. Let's keep that in mind. He is not an even strength player right now. He looks on even strength. He looks lost. On the power play, he fits right at home. They need to find a balance like they did last year, towards the end of last year. And it's unfortunate that the Sabres are this bad. And it's unfortunate that Ralph Kruger has done nothing with this team. But at this point, do you think the Sabres should fire Ralph Kruger?
100%, I think so. I think he's very stubborn. I don't think he's got to change his ways. He's contributing to this team. He's trying to make this team into a gritty team, a team that just edges out, a team that doesn't produce offense. He doesn't even know how to say offense. He says offense. That's your first problem right there. He wants to make the team like he did Edmonton. He wants to make it a gritty 500 team, and that's not what we are. We have Taylor Hall, we have Eichel, we have Skinner, Reinhart. We should be scoring. We shouldn't have to rely on defense because we can't right now with Matt Irwin and Yoki Haru and players really struggling.
It's all about fitting to what the best needs are for your team, what best suits your team. And Ralph Kruger has not done that. He looks like Rex Ryan, a mediocre head coach, a retread that does not deserve to be at this such big piece of leadership. He does not deserve to be the head coach. I remember thinking, wow, the Sabres have an opportunity to finally right their wrongs in 2018 and get a real head coach like Todd McClellan, who, by the way, has the Kings on a 6-game win streak. They are by far a worse team on paper than the Sabres.
Oh, yeah.
Instead, the Sabres got a failed soccer executive in Ralph Kruger and a 500 head coach in the NHL. I can't even speak because it doesn't make sense. It shouldn't make sense. But the Sabres continue to astound. And I don't know how they can top Ralph Kruger. How worse can they get than Kruger?
It just doesn't make sense. You have an opportunity to sign several head coaches around the market. Like you said, the Kings coach, and then another one I want to bring up is Lindy Roth. I know some people may be like we already had him, I don't want to bring him back. He was fully open to coming back. We know what kind of coach he is. We know he could get us to the playoffs, maybe just for a little bit if you really couldn't find someone. But no, they go out, they signed a soccer executive, a guy who played or coached like 48 games in the NHL previously, got fired by Edmonton. There's a reason he was gone. They bring him back, struggled, has not changed the system, and lies constantly in the media pressers.
He does not tell the truth. He lied about Skinner. He lied about McCabe. He lied about every single one of these guys. When will it stop? When will we get honest transparency from the locker room to the players? I don't want to have to look at Twitter to see how transparent the Sabres really are. They should be coming out up front and telling us that McCabe has a broken knee. They got to tell us that a new up-and-coming Will Borgen, his arm is broken. How do we have to rely on insiders and not our own damn coach?
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Like this team, even with like Botterill, I'll go to the GMs first. Like Botterill, we always complained he did not speak to the fans. He kept it within himself. He didn't let us know what he was doing, and that's why he got hated. He never let us know. Adams is doing the same thing. Housley did the same thing. He never gave us the full story, and now Kruger's doing the same thing. So obviously there's an issue there. Yeah.
I get it. They have to keep some things within the locker room. But telling the fans that one of your best players has shot his knee up, that should be easy. What's the loss of telling the fans that? What's the loss of just coming out and say, yeah, McCabe is going to be out 6 to 8 months? What is so hard about that? I don't get it.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. And the thing that drives me crazy, minus the Skinner thing, is even Eichel. He goes, no, Eichel's not injured. Eichel's not injured. And then all of a sudden he says, oh, it was an injury that happened during warm-ups of the game. That was not. A media member would have saw that injury. They would have reported it. Eichel looks like he's been injured all season, and he has taken no accountability, and Kruger has just remained saying it's just one injury.
Kruger is putting out a shot duck onto the ice. Eichel, he has looked lazy. Maybe that's because that injury he suffered in training camp all the way back in December, that leg injury that he screwed up in a practice. Maybe that's still bothering him. But no, Kruger's decided that he will keep putting him out, further hurting him, further increasing the timetable for recovery. When will this guy wake up?
Yeah, that's the thing. And I know a lot of fans, like even we were saying, like Eichel's looked lazy, Eichel looks bad. Maybe it's not him. Maybe he's playing injured. Maybe he's being forced to play injured by the coach. So obviously you got to take that into account. And either it's one of two things. It's Kruger lying or it's Eichel playing lazy. And right now you can't tell.
And I know that Eichel is not up to his full potential because I did not notice the difference of when he was playing and when he wasn't playing, say in when was it? The Thursday game against the Devils. There was no real difference in the team. They looked about the same. It's not like last season when Eichel was contributing to almost everything. And when he left for that one game against the Flyers, the Sabres lost 6-1. It was horrible.
Yeah.
Now it's not that much of a difference.
Yeah, that game against the Devils, like the first power play, I was like, yeah, if you have Eichel there, maybe you get a few more opportunities. But other than that, the team played the same as if they would with him this year. Overtime, obviously, they struggled. Maybe Eichel would have helped there, but the way he's been playing, probably not.
Yeah, probably not. And speaking of overtime, Carter Hutton let in such a soft goal that I think I could have gone out. I'm 5'4". I probably could have gone out there and been bigger in the net and saved that.
Yeah, this is just a joke. Obviously, the team has zero goaltending besides Ullmark. Ullmark's having a career year, putting out I wouldn't say the best stats, but some of the best saves I've ever seen from him. And he's saving the team. And when you have a backup goalie who literally can't stop a floater, that's an issue. 2 shots. Now, one I'll blame on Matt Irwin. Man got undressed. But 2 shots, just wide open looks, snipes, far corner, could not get a piece of them. Unbelievable.
It's unbelievable. Linus Ullmark, he is I wouldn't say he's Vezina candidate, but if he was on a good team, he would be a Vezina candidate. Yeah. With some of the saves I've been seeing, he hurt himself making one of the best saves of the season. You can't make this crap up. Linus Ullmark has probably saved the Sabres the past 2 games. The Islanders game, they still lost that. But without Ullmark, they probably would have lost that 5-2.
Absolutely, yeah. Linus Ullmark has kept this team in games. I've been saying it since the start. Even though he lets in, you could say like 2, 3, 4 goals a game, he is saving them so many times. The Sabres have so many defensive breakdowns, and even like the stats would say like, oh, he only stopped like 22 shots this game or whatever, but the quality of the shots are insane, and some of the saves he's making are insane, and that just shows you how bad the Sabres have been playing offensively and defensively this year.
And you point to how teams are getting great opportunities, say in the slot, high danger shots. I thought you said that Ralph Kruger was trying to instill a gritty, defensive, 500 team. Well, good job, Ralph Kruger. Job done, because you are leaving Ullmark out to dry. You are produced 0 offense. In fact, it's worse than the Housley era. 5 on 5. It's about a goal and a half per game. That is awful. That is Detroit level awful.
You can tell Kruger's trying to implement the system, and it is working with some guys. If you look, like Riley Sheehan has 2 goals. Did we think he'd have that? Probably not. I'd say Toby Reeder is playing very good this year so far. And Sam Reinhart, maybe a slower player in front of the net, he's playing really good this year. And you could even say Asplund. Asplund has looked better than last year. But you have to change to your stars. You cannot play a system for Middlestat, Asplund, Reeder. You have to play a system for Hall, Eichel, Skinner. And that's not happening right now.
Well, in fact, you have to play for the entire team. That's how good teams like the Penguins did it. They had high-end talent, and then Zach Aston Reese on the 3rd line. They had to balance that. Mike Sullivan was able to balance that, and he too is also on the he's on the hot seat, just like Ralph Kruger. And we say that Ralph Kruger's on the hot seat, but is he really? I have heard 0 indication that he is.
I've heard it from fans. I've heard it from media members. I haven't heard a single thing from internally from the Sabres. I think he should get fired. Do I think he will? Probably not.
It's disappointing. It's incredibly disappointing that another year already looks like it's spiraling out of control. I don't know where else they can go from this. I wouldn't feel anything if Eichel were to be traded, say, tomorrow. I wouldn't feel anything if Hall, Eichel, Olofsson, Reinhardt, all of them would be gone. I'm indifferent. I have lost so much confidence in this team. They can keep switching players. They can keep switching management. They can keep switching coaches. In the end, the Pagulas are the root of the problem. We just mentioned this right now, but Terry and Ken Pagula, you have run this team into the ground. My home team, my childhood team. This team doesn't look like a team. It looks like a group of individuals. It looks like the old Bills, and I'm afraid that maybe the Sabres are going to head to their own 17-year playoff drought because they don't know how to rebuild. They have keep rebuilding upon rebuilding upon rebuilding. When will they stop rebuilding?
Yeah, like the Pagulas have done a very good job with the Bills setting up a culture, but the Sabres paid no attention to obviously they don't know what they're doing, hiring a soccer executive, hiring these people, hiring these GMs. Kevin Adams, a cheap option. I do want to bring up the 3rd line. Last year, our 3rd/4th line, whatever, Okposo, Larson, Gergensons. That line was very solid, right? This year, Eakin, Sheahan, Okposo, Reeder, all of them together, it's been the worst line in hockey. That is a joke. How do you go from and Larson literally got paid nothing. We overpaid for Gergensen, so he's hurt, and like it just doesn't make sense how you bring in people that are worse than last year that got signed to minimum deals. It just doesn't make sense.
How are you able to top a Larson, a Poso? That in line, it's solid, but it's not a great fourth line. How do you get worse than that? Let me tell you something. Eakin, Poso, and Reeder, arguably, like you said, the worst line in hockey. Guess how many goals they have combined?
Say about one or two.
They have more than the first line combined. They have
True.
4 goals combined. That is a damning revelation when you consider that Eichel, Skinner, and Hall have 3 goals combined. That is embarrassing. You should be ashamed of yourself, the Sabres, because when you let Tobias Reeder outscore you, you have a problem.
Now, I will bring up a positive in the draft. Cousins has looked amazing this year. I really think they have something in him. Quinn, so far his AHL, he had that shootout goal. He looks better than I expected. So 2 for 2 so far if Quinn keeps developing.
And hopefully JJ Peterka, fan favorite,
yes.
Maybe he develops into an AHL player and bottom 6'4", because that's only the kind of players that Terry and Kipagula like on this team. Depth and depth and depth.
Yep.
I will say the Stahl-Cousins pairing has worked pretty well. Pairing an experienced veteran with a youngster like Cousins. Cousins looks pretty comfortable. And now that they moved Taylor Hall, I will say Taylor Hall, Stahl, and Cousins, that should be our first line because they are playing so much better than Eichel and Olofsson.
Yeah. Stahl, like you could tell he's not playing for himself. He is playing to help Cousins, to help Stahl on the outside, setting him up. He's not looking to score every time. Stahl is doing a very good job in that role, mentoring Cousins. He has a lot of, Cousins, how many goals does Cousins have?
3.
I believe Stahl has 2 assists on those. Stahl's done a great job there, leadership-wise. I think Hall looks a lot better on that line than he does with Eichel or on any other line. And, Stahl's look good.
If I were the Sabres, I would try to keep Stahl into next season.
Yeah.
He's not a number 2 center anymore, but he would be an amazing number 3 center. If you could have Eichel, assuming that he still stays in Buffalo, Eichel, I heard that Nashville is rebuilding. Maybe you trade for a guy like cursed Matt Duchene, who is okay. He could fill a number 2 role.
It's decent.
They would have to retain some money for Nashville would. And then you have Eric Stahl. You have Eichel, Duchene, and Stahl. That is an improvement. That would be a lot of depth right there.
Oh, yeah. And also, you could bring up Casey Middlestat. Casey Middlestat has looked, last game against the Devils, Casey Middlestat looked insane. I saw that one rush right before his goal. He made a crazy move, cut towards the net, got lucky with the pass, and he was in the right spot. So Middlestat might be actually an NHL player. Can't believe it.
Maybe they actually lucked out because they almost ruined him. Yeah. But in his limited role this season, it's been like 4 games he's played now. He's starting to get a streak going. He's got 3 points, 1 goal, 2 assists. That's pretty good if you tell me. That's certainly better than the other guys we got on this roster. Yeah,
Middlestat used to be like a softie. He wasn't really physical at all. He couldn't really get in the lanes. I'm seeing a lot of improvement. He's just got to get a little bit stronger, and I think he'll be a good player.
That's right. And the final thing I would like to talk about for this whole very negative episode, I will say, is the Kruger v. Skinner boxing match 2021.
Kruger clearly stated he doesn't know what a doghouse is, says he doesn't have one. Kruger also said it's nothing against Skinner, it's more to get the guys in. Now, I will say Asplund and Middlestat have played good in the roles, but as a coach, how are you looking at this team and saying, I think Asplund and Middlestat are better than Skinner. I think they give us more offense. I think they give us more production. That doesn't happen.
How can you take one of the best even-strength goal scorers over the past 6 years and put him on the press box when you need even-strength goals? Skinner has scored the 18th most even-strength goals in the past, say, 5 years. And guess where he is right now? Just when the Sabres are only scoring about a goal per game, even strength, he's in the frigging bleeping press box with the other scrubs like Brandon Davidson. I can't even imagine Jeff Skinner right now. He is sitting with his $9 million salary thinking the world will be daisies and unicorn, and 2 years later he finds himself sitting next to Brandon Davidson.
Yeah, what a joke.
How do you get there?
It just doesn't make sense. obviously, to begin with, Kruger put him on the fourth line with Lazar and Sheehan.
How do you
You're not
expect him
going
to
to
do
get production.
good?
You're not going to get production with those guys. Lazar's a chippy guy, scores once in a while. I like him, but he's not a good line mate for Skinner. Sheehan, same type. Two people who I think their best roles are on the penalty kill. Skinner is not like that. Skinner needs a pure like superstar like Hall or Eichel, which they're not playing like it now. But we've seen it with Eichel. He's insane. He's he knows where to be. Reminds me a lot of just a great sniper. I was gonna say like a Pominville, but no. But like he knows where to be.
Like
Yeah.
a Magoon, yeah.
Yeah.
And we all thought that I said in my opening night roster predictions that Skinner would be on the second line besides Stahl. He didn't even get up to the second line. So Kruger, when you tell me he's not giving you the production you want, pairing him with Sheehan and the Czar is not going to get that production, number one. Number two, you never gave him a chance. Most of the starting faceoffs are in the defensive zone. Number three, the fourth line, by the way, gets the least amount of ice time. So I don't want to be making excuses all the time, but there's a pattern with Jeff Skinner. Skinner, when he's on the second line even, he gets 15 goals in a down year. That's a down year. And when he's on the first line, he gets 40 goals.
40 goals.
40 goals. Remember, this is the same man that scored 40 goals for the Sabres. And then now, he's on the third line, then the fourth line, and guess how many goals he's got? 0. He's got goose egg. Nothing. Excuse me. I'm coughing because there's so much bullshit coming out of my mouth. Yeah.
Initially, when they brought Stahl in, I thought for sure he was brought in to help Skinner, because Skinner, even the year before, Skinner started to look kind of towards the downside. They started to move him off with Eichel. They were like, okay, this guy's going to be a second line guy now. Maybe we overpaid. And then this year, they did not put him with Stahl. I was like, because Stahl and Skinner played together in Carolina.
And they had success.
So I was thinking maybe he helps Cousins and helps Skinner. Did not do that, and I just don't understand it.
I don't get it anymore. You pay a guy $9 million and you don't see this coming. You don't see this coming. Number one, you don't see this coming. Sense. Number two, how can you put a $9 million guy on the fourth line? How can you do that and call yourself a head coach? How can you do that? And let me just read off some names in the Sabres bottom six and tell you why they are bad. You got Kyle Poso, Riley Sheehan, Cody Eakin, Curtis Lazar, Tage Thompson, Rasmus Asplund, and am I forgetting anybody? I don't think. Casey Middlestat.
Yeah.
So those were 7 elite names that Kevin Adams thought were going to help the Sabres become a Stanley Cup contender. Now, do those 7 names scream confidence? Do those 7 names scream Stanley Cup contender bottom 6 right there?
Absolutely not. Those 7 names tell you a rebuilding team that just needs depth, and that's what it is. And obviously, if you got your stars going, they might contribute a little more. They might start getting on streaks, but those 7 players are not going to win you games.
I don't know where to go for this team. You can't possibly rebuild again. Otherwise, another chunk of your fan base will leave. And speaking of fan base, the Sabres are allowing fans, 2,000 exactly, to return mid-March for home games. I'm not going.
Mm-hmm. I'd rather spend my money on ice cream than go to a Sabres game.
They're going to be just as expensive as ice cream in the moment if they keep losing and playing this way. It's embarrassing. It is embarrassing.
Skinner has just been so misused. And even if the management and coaching staff hated him, you put him on the first line, get his trade value up, and trade him eventually. They have done nothing. They have not tried to trade him. They've not tried to get production out of him. They've just sat him down and accepted their loss. I don't understand.
They're laying down to die. And for that, I expect heads. I expect Ralph Kruger to be gone. I expect Terry and Kimbagula. I don't care that you saved the team from relocation. Relocation feels better at this point than watching this team hurt night after night and stealing Buffalo taxpayer money and stealing my money and stealing my time and stealing all of our time, Buffalo's time. Stop wasting our time. We are not chumps. I don't think you think we are chumps, but you're certainly acting like it.
Yeah, this team is a joke. You could ask 100 NHL fans, and they'll say, if you ask them, like, who's the biggest joke of the team, they'll say Buffalo. Buffalo's been so bad for so long, haven't been good since probably 06, 07. Team's been an absolute joke. Even, like, I thought maybe the uniforms would bring it back. That's what fans were thinking. Fans actually thought that maybe Royal Blue would change it. No, it's more than that. It's coaches, it's players, it's owners, it's GMs, it's executives, it's scouts, it's everyone.
This whole team needs to be given a big sledgehammer treatment. Just pound the place into the ground and see, maybe a pile of rubbish is better than what we got right now. Maybe. You never know.
I think so.
But that was it for today's episode. I was Don. This was Cal. Hopefully the Sabres are in a playoff spot next time we talk. I think it's more likely they are in a first overall pick spot next time we talk. Thank you guys so much for watching. We are a couple of depressed Sabres fans. Have a good rest of your day.